Today, we're going to be discussing cyberbullying. Some people don't really, when they think of cyberbullying, they just think of, it's regular bullying, but with the internet. But cyberbullying is much more sinister than standard bullying. For starters, studies have shown that as many as 59% of children have had experience, like been victims of cyberbullying. And I was in school not that long ago, and almost two-thirds of kids definitely were not normally bullied. So the fact that that many are cyberbullied is pretty crazy if you think about it. Another big difference is cyberbullying makes kids more popular. Studies have shown that compared to regular bullying does not increase a child's popularity, but cyberbullying does. A child will be perceived as being more popular if they cyberbully. So they have incentive to cyberbully other children. So you can see how that just can snowball into really bad effects. And another thing to think about is cyberbullying, unlike regular bullying, does not stop when the child gets home. All it requires is the internet, and children are pretty addicted to their friends these days. So the bullies have basically unlimited access to their victims, and it can be really hard to avoid them if you are a victim of cyberbullying. But that's about all I have to say on the subject. So I'm going to pass it over to the expert, Robyn. Robyn, take it away.
Thank you, Coley, for having me. I am so excited to be here discussing the effects of cyberbullying on our children. Cyberbullying has unfortunately become an invasive problem, and I have witnessed it firsthand. I have a bunch of tips for parents to discuss on how to circumvent and prevent any sort of cyberbullying, things to watch out for. The first one is to, of course, consider using monitoring software. This is so important. I worked in a time when this was not available, and I've seen the damage that cyberbullying can do. And I was so impressed to see that Guardian has been designed, and that they are able to use the AI technology to track any bullying and alert parents on any concerns. It's really amazing. The next one is talking regularly with your child about technology and their etiquette. This comes with some important communication. It involves becoming what we call an authoritative parent. An authoritative parent is a parent that sets up rules and guidelines in the home, also sets up consequences and discipline. But behind that is a lot of love and a lot of discussion and a lot of talking that goes on about why something happened, why there are consequences for it, what needs to be learned from that particular situation. That's the best way to parent in these situations, instead of being a dismissive parent where you're just neglectful and let them entertain themselves on social media. Or if you're on the way other end of the spectrum where you're what we call authoritarian, and that's really a militaristic parent, where there might be physical consequences and no discussion and no unconditional love behind the consequences and rules and guidelines you set up in your home. And then talking to them about etiquette, expectations, language that's appropriate to use. One thing that Guardian will do is let you know if nasty words are being shared, and this should be discussed with your child about how to use appropriate adult language when connecting with your peers online. Keeping devices in easily viewable places. So this is a great one. Try to keep technology out of the bedrooms. I know it's hard. Keeping the computers in a central area in the living room, engaging with your child. What are you looking at? Who are you talking to? Keeping things in a positive light, not like you're spying on them or anything. What's nice is Guardian will, of course, alert any parent when something is going on if you're not in the room, or if your child does have their technology being used in their bedroom. So there is that reliability with Guardian that we have, which is great. You want to be respectful of your child's privacy. And this is a tricky one because it's a dangerous world. And so you want to really keep an eye on your child, but at the same time, not respecting their privacy can work against you as a parent. So it's really important. This is a topic I think it's a heavy one. So we might want to discuss this on a future live stream. The next one is to set up clear expectations and consequences in your home. Don't wait until something bad happens. Front load your child with what you expect in the home as far as their technology usage and what the consequences are for not following, the boundaries you've set for them. Doing that ahead of time will prepare you when something does get heated and they already know what's coming. Consider creating a contract with your child. This is so important because kids can be so manipulative. Teenagers, oh my gosh. I can't tell you how many times I've heard my teenagers say, "You didn't say that, Mom." So I really think it's important so you don't fall into that trap. It might be good to put something in official writing. Hey, this is the contract that we both agreed to and you signed it, so you knew about it. Give them a copy, post it on their door, something. But this is a good one so they can be held accountable. Be aware of any warning signs. So, you want to watch out for if your child's all of a sudden resisting using technology. That could be a sign there might be something going on. Sometimes kids, all of a sudden, they get into bad moods for the smallest reasons, but it could be something big. So check in with them and make sure that nothing big is going on. Also, if you're all of a sudden your child's reluctant to go to school, that's a big one. So if they're refusing and they won't tell you why, it's really important to do some investigating and try to figure out why they're resisting going to school. Your child could be the one that's doing the bullying. And this is another thing to watch out for. Cyberbullying does tend to make kids more popular if they're seen as the big man on campus, if people know that they're bullying other people online. And a lot of bullies, they think they're doing the right thing. They think, it's kind of like a vigilante attitude where they're like, yeah, well, I'm putting that person in their place and I'm standing up for so-and-so. And there's a lot of excuses being used. So you want to watch for that too. Another thing is to document any bullying. Make sure that you save anything that you've collected so that you have proof. Something needs to be formally addressed. And if it does need to be formally addressed, the next thing to do is to contact your child's school. There's so many school personnel that can get involved. There's so many social supports. There's the school counselor, a teacher, myself, school psychologists, resource officers. If your child has them accessible on campus, a lot of times they're available. The vice principal, getting everybody involved, calling in the village to help support your child is very important. Reporting bullying to the website, ISP, or phone company is also really important. It's a way for the company to address it, take it down, and also so they can track what exactly is going on their websites and address it. Contact police if threats were made. This is a big one. If there's physical threats against your child that's inciting violence, contacting the local police department and showing them the physical threat and who made it is important for your child's safety. If there is ongoing cyberbullying, don't be afraid to contact some mental health professionals. Or if the school says, it might be helpful if this child can access some therapy, that's super beneficial in a child processing what happened and being able to come back to that place of safety and their use of technology. So the next thing I want to discuss is tips for students. This is a way for you to, if you know your child's potentially being bullied, some tools to use in the home. For students, the first thing to do is to not retaliate. The bully wants you to react. That is the bully's goal. They want to get a reaction out of you. And so the first thing to do is just to not do anything. Don't reward them with your retaliating words that you're upset about it. The next thing is to ignore it, like we're talking about, or you can calmly tell them to stop in a very short and sweet, telling them to kindly knock it off. And then, oh my goodness, kids, reach out to your adults. Our students need to know that they have adults to help them prepare, for real life, and that we're there as their guides, and that we're there to help them problem solve and work out any social problems that they might be having with their peers. A lot of times kids feel a huge amount of shame when they're bullied. And so it's very hard for them to reach out. We need to let our kids know that there is no shame in this, that they're just a victim. They're just a person that was picked out to be bullied, that it has nothing to do with them and who they are. Another one, make a hard copy. Very important. Kids, don't delete the message. Show an adult. Make a hard copy and save it so you have proof. The next one is to write down how you're feeling. Maybe write a letter to the bully, but don't send it. You don't send it. It's just a way to get your feelings on paper and say what you want to say, and then put it away. I got to tell you, it's very empowering. It's a great way to journal your feelings, is put it in a letter you're not going to give them. For kids, oh my gosh, this is a huge one. Adults too. We all do this. But we need to make sure that we don't say anything online that we wouldn't say in person to somebody face to face. I don't know why that people use their social grace and etiquette. We've got to teach our children how to use that and be good examples of that as well. The final one is to not disclose any personal information online. Teaching our children, what's safe to talk about and what's not safe to talk about. What boundaries you put on in social media communication is really important, because I think I've even, shared too much on my Facebook page and went, whoa, wait a second, I'm going to take that down because my emotions got away with me and I said something, that was just too much. So it's really important that kids are careful about sharing too much online, because that can make them a target for bullying. Hopefully all of these tips are helpful. I am so proud to be representing Guardian, because I feel like it is such an amazing tool that parents can use in accordance with all of the tips that I've discussed.
Thanks, Robyn. That was an amazing presentation.
Thanks, Coley. Thanks for having me.
Of course.